Okay, so in this video, I will talk about basic meditation. And just like learning how to punch, we're going to go over the basics. Learning the basics of breathing, bringing in a gold sun, which is really connecting with your own energy. And we're going to talk about grounding, and we're going to discuss grounding the aura. And the purpose of this exercise is to ground out pain and foreign energy. So, as an introduction, first of all, focus on your breath. Deep breaths in through the nose and mouth, breathing in deep through the belly, and holding that deep breath, and then releasing. This is a good place to start, to be here, to bring yourself into your body. As you sit in a comfortable manner. Some people are naturally more comfortable seated in the lotus position. And of course, when you're running your earth and cosmic energy, when you're bringing in those energies, of course, to ground yourself and clear your energy, it is also recommended by people that teach this technique, which is really, the core of psychic protection, protecting your consciousness. It's recommended to sit in a chair with your feet flat on the earth, preferably barefoot, also known as earthing. And so that method can also be done as you listen to what I'm saying. And so as you breathe and as you come into your body, come into your center, which includes coming into your consciousness, there's value in the heart chakra meditation where you come into your heart chakra and it powers up the field around you. And then there's being in the center of your head, which is a room of your own design with a chair that you create in your mind with a reading screen in front of you which represents your third eye, what you're seeing, your intuitive side. And so we're going to, at some point, discuss clearing out the head, and I'll be sharing some basic things. But as you breathe, think about the world that we live in and how many people are running around ungrounded and not in their truth. And we look at some of these individuals and we ask, are their thoughts their own? There sure seems to be a wide number of people right now on this planet that are out of touch with their own truth, and they're living these false realities. And a lot of this is because they are ungrounded, and I do speculate that part of being human comes with, for a lot of people, entity attachments. So you can visualize, if you will, the potential that there are a lot of human beings running around with another being with a leash or a cord attached to that human being. And so when we talk about the archonic infection of mankind, what we're really talking about, and there's many different explanations and interpretations and examples, but we talk about that situation with people with entity attachments, whether they came from past lives or from actions that they've done in this life or karma, or because they're doing something powerful. Things like grounding and running your energy is ultimately the very best defense. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that the last few years, last few decades, have been running around ungrounded and channeling spirits, energies that are not necessarily their own. And so, because there's a fair amount of deception, spiritual deception, that's taking place in the astral plane, with a lot of human beings that have been inviting these energies into their body. It's actually created major psychological, health, and other spiritual problems for some of these people that have gotten in quite deep. And so some people are now waking up to the fact that maybe they were lied to about the ascension of 2012 and 2013, and they were lied to about, certain things that were said by channelers years ago about the dark ETs being removed from the planet. And people running around suggesting that people channel certain deities and names. And there's actually been like these group hive collectives where people do seem to be getting similar messages, but instead of those similar messages being something of the truth or the true light, there's been a lot of false light and false truth that people have surrounded themselves with. And so, in conclusion to this introductory thought, like martial arts, like training, like rewiring your brain and, getting used to developing new positive habits and eating better and drinking better water, grounding and bringing in your own energy and recentering and being in your own head, coming into your body, not being out of body. These are all very powerful things. And it's important that it becomes a part of one's lifestyle, especially if they're on the spiritual path, and especially if they're using digital technology to project ideas and information that can unlock minds. When that happens, as I've experienced in my own life, only those that have gone through this can actually have the empathy to understand what I'm saying. There is something known as energy blowback or energy backlash. And it comes in different forms, including seeing people or allies, friends, develop these split personalities and going archonic, as I've called it. And I do believe that the more grounded that one person is, that a person can be, the easier it is to deal with some of that archonic blowback. To literally see it for what it is, which is not more powerful than human consciousness, and to apply the human consciousness, imagination, power, chi, prana, the very thing that makes us powerful, the very thing that they want to feed on, and actually use it against them. It's literally a form of spiritual kung fu. And it is about your belief, and it is about you knowing that your tools work, knowing how to use them, like learning how to punch and then becoming automatic. The same thing with learning how to ground and bring up your shield. There's also a lot of distorted information that has been put out there regarding psychic protection, and I think that there's a fair amount of counterfeits on YouTube that are providing the wrong information. Instead of focus on that, we will focus on the very basics of psychic protection and maintaining your sense of happiness, amusement, and bliss in what can be a very chaotic world. And it's very important to understand that these archonic entities do feed on our negative emotions. And so it's very important to learn how not to be controlled by your emotions. And when you're not grounded, certain emotions can be induced. They can be sent to you like a laser beam. They can hit your aura, and certain thoughts can be implanted into your consciousness. And unless you learn to realize and detect and know what is your energy versus what is not your energy or thoughts, then you're going to continue to be controlled externally. And so, as we begin, when you bring yourself back into your aura, and this helps in focus, there's a number of different hand gestures that you may have learned, and there's different books, there's things relating to mandala and even Vipassana meditation. I'm trying to keep this really simple, and there's a way that you can mix this up a little bit to tailor maybe what you're already doing. This isn't necessarily in stone, but I am going to stick with the original way that this technique was taught. And I'm going to go over the very basics in this video before getting into additional information, additional techniques. So as you come into your body and actually communicate with your body and say, hello, body, and hello, center of head, Hello, center of head, as you take your consciousness to the center of your head. And the gold sun is the bringing in of your own organic energy, your own thoughts. Perhaps you've left your thoughts at work, maybe on Facebook. There's a lot of exchange of energy that we go through on Facebook and the internet. Your digital self, your avatar self, people communicating with that aspect of yourself. So we visualize a magnet, which is at the center of this boiling sun, which is above our head, which is fairly large. And you want to focus on a large sun. The home that you're living in now, or the vehicle, or the building, you want to visualize a gold sun at least larger than the room you're in, preferably the size of the building. And this is where you're working those spiritual muscles, if you will. Some people call it the clairvoyant muscles. You can call it different things. But you are coming into that space and that reality where you literally are creating and executing a technique and using your tools. And so the magnet inside this multicolor sun, encompassing reds, yellows, orange, greens, blues, purples, and more. Staying away from just white colors and blacks and browns, but actual spectrum of the rainbow. Colors, natural, real colors. Okay, just like there's real, natural, organic shapes versus the squares and structures, bringing in that natural energy. The magnet pulling yourself back from these different places that you've left your energy, and the sun, over a period of several minutes, becoming larger. And you can practice this technique with your eyes open to practice the visualization of this while you're in your waking state. And picturing it becoming larger above your head. And once you can see it and once you can feel it. Visualizing the poking of a hole at the bottom of that sun, and this magnificent golden energy coming into your golden aura, encompassing all of these different colors of the rainbow, representing not alien energy or foreign thoughts, but your own energy, your own thoughts, your own everything, and bringing it full center into your body and literally boosting up your energy field. From that point, you visualize, now with that new energy, a grounding cord. Grounding cord that you create with your mind. It could be a waterfall, a tree trunk, maybe one of those Jenga type of things that goes whoosh, or a series of hula hoops. Sometimes you see those long tents, like FEMA tents. Well, just picture like a large actual tube. Fairly large. Maybe you could start with several feet, but as you grow and you develop that deepening focus, you want to create a very large grounding cord. And we'll briefly mention the blowing of roses, and it's something that I'm still learning to do. You create a rose out in front of you, with the thorns, and you practice creating a rose of different colors, different sizes. And that very rose you take, and the head of the rose of flowering is really, it's like the sticky, the fly trap material. As you visualize it going, say, into the root chakra and cleaning it out, any gunk, any dirt, any colors, throwing that rose out at least 10 feet in front of you. And of course, you don't actually have to do this with your physical hand, but I will do it with my physical hand. But this is really done in your mind. And then placing some sort of a spiritual explosive device, also known as the B word, that can trigger NSA alarms. But visualizing that that device going under that rose that you've thrown 10 feet in front of you, and a button. I often visualize the pushing of a button like video games, like you're playing Pac-Man, or you're, developing that visualization. You hit the button and that rose blows up. All that energy goes back to where it came. So you're clearing out that root chakra, and you're connecting your grounding cord to the root chakra, and then you even visualize checking it, like make sure it's locked in place, like one of those child-proof things. And then you connect the other end to the center of the earth. The center of the earth is what we ground to, and release that energy, and that energy ends up going back to its original source. And so this exercise may not come easy at first, which is why we're only talking about the gold sun and the grounding cord and the grounding of the aura. And it takes some time to get in the habit of this, but eventually grounding becomes commonplace, just like a moving meditation, just like being able to instantly, for example, exercises like this, where I've actually learned this in a Tai Chi class, and the teacher called it the rosy palm effect, where you bend back the rubber band of energy, your own energy, and then you push it back. And I remember doing this as a very young man. And before I learned how to ground in the gold sun, I went on a Vipassana retreat, and that's also valuable. And I've talked about this. And there's many videos that you can watch to get an idea of what Vipassana is. You can see some of the videos on YouTube where they are describing this meditation based on just observing your breath and becoming very equanimous, yet aware. But it is about curtailing that monkey mind reactive aspect of ourselves that's constantly reacting to stimuli. And so, just breathing naturally, deep breathing really helps us boost up our energy and come into our Om. As well as exercises like that. But Vipassana is just naturally breathing and coming into your deeper awareness and stepping back from automatically reacting to all of these things, whether it's a pleasurable sense or a uncomfortable sense. It's said that the Buddha attained his enlightenment and truth through the Vipassana meditation technique. So that's a little bit of history on that. But this is a little more simple. Do whatever it takes for 5-10 minutes, be it stretching, deep breathing, Om, Vipassana, to come into your place, because it could take 5 or 10 minutes just to come into a place of center, just to quiet all that noise. It's another reason why I appreciate being in nature. I feel like when I find my center and I turn off the computer and I've stepped away from the house by at least 100 feet, I'm glad that I have the space to actually do this video now. And there is a reason I'm doing this now, because it's better for me to be discussing a topic like this where I'm at, as opposed to in the RV in an urban environment. And nature can be a tool to help us ground. And the cities, a lot of people are unconsciously ungrounded through the cell phones and looking into their smartphones all the time. There's something about that light that I do believe affects the melatonin production in the brain, which affects the pineal gland. Different ways to pronounce it. I've certainly mispronounced it multiple times. But that center of our head place is the place where we need to go in and we need to do some house cleaning. And we become more aware of what's going on in our bodies and where there's pain and areas where we need to release energy. We may become aware of things in our head, images, pictures, beings, entities that are not our own. So as we ground now, and we check it from the top to the bottom and make sure it's wide. So start with a few feet as you do this more. Make sure your grounding cord is at least 10 feet and then 20 feet. And ground out effort, just release this need to be perfect at this. As I've been told, this process, once you direct it, it does it on its own. You don't have to force it, but you do direct it. And you direct it from the center of your consciousness, the center of your mind. And you imagine a switch, like a light switch. and then you flip it from off to on. Maybe you can visualize maybe an oscillating machine-like sound, but all of a sudden the suction energy comes in and the grounding cord is pulling. Foreign energy, pain, and pictures. Pictures arrive through different means. Again, focused on something that has stressed you out, stress in the body, a picture that is causing stress. This picture, this implant. And perhaps it's your own. Perhaps it was shot into you or injected into you, something to keep you spinning on this picture. And some pictures are like threat pictures. Like if you go down this road, we will kill you. And a lot of people are suffering from threat pictures, fear pictures. A lot of the archonic grid is run off of harvesting fear, the fear energy from human beings. So a lot of human beings are impacted with pictures. Sometimes it comes through technology. Sometimes it comes through spiritual technologies that are in the non-physical realm. And so people could have loaded pictures in their brain, which are actual implants that are not physical. They're etheric. They are etheric archon implants. And we have the power and responsibility to remove them. So, as we ground and we scan our body, you can be in the lotus position again, but it's also recommended by the person that taught me this to do this with your feet flat on the ground. And so you ground out the feet, and like Vipassana, just observing the breath and becoming equanimous, there's a scan of the whole body that takes place with that. With this, it's also very different. But instead of just becoming equanimous and just observing it without reacting, you're grounding it. You're using your own energy and that grounding cord. And then, of course, you bring in a gold sun, which shoots all the way down your grounding cord, reestablishing a deeper, stronger connection. Very flexible, yet very strong grounding cord. As we imagine that vacuum sound, the flipping of the switch and the pulling of the foreign energy and pain and stuck pictures and other things in the legs and the rest of the body, from the stomach, the chest, the lower back. And there's a lot in our chakras and our channels. And, massage, I believe that massage is about pushing out some of those pictures as well. That's why physical touch can be very, very healing if someone's gone through trauma. But a lot of people that have gone through trauma don't have those options of someone to do the hands-on healing. But this is ultimately about healing yourself and going beyond, the psychology of needing something outside of yourself to heal you. This is about self-healing. And so, the pulling of the pain from the lower back. And visualizing the different colors. Just draining out of the back. Colors. Sometimes it could be a blob, black, brown. Slowly practicing the blowing of roses as you do this. So you're grounding and you're going through your whole body. And then you create a rose out in front of you. Say we create a green one. And fairly thick stem. And with thorns. Or maybe a rainbow colored rose, candy cane colored. And we may become aware as we do this, as we're in our head, and we also ground out our head, which I'll mention in a moment. We could see that rose coming in and clearing out that blob of energy, and then we throw it very quickly. This is not a very deep process, but visualize, that rose becoming full, and then it becoming full of the energy, and then it's being thrown at least 10 feet in front of you etherically, with some sort of a detonation device underneath it. The visualization, I mentioned a video game button. Disintegration. Return back to source. Also, the grounding cord is something that when you're finished with it, you disconnect it, and then it goes to the center of the earth, and then it disintegrates and goes back to where it came from. Going back to our conversation about grounding, and as you do this, breathing and going hello, center of head. Hello, center of head. Back into that chair with an actual reading screen. You can picture, Windex over a screen, cleaning it with that rose. Any dirt, gunk, stuck pictures, you don't need to know what those pictures are. But a cleaning of those pictures, and then the throwing out of the rose, and then again, the detonation device. Back to source. With the grounding cord itself, it's also recommended that you write or sign your name on it and put the date that you're using it. So no one else can use your grounding cord. It is only there for you to use. Going back to the center of the head and taking the grounding cord energy literally to that room and opening up a trap door. And all beings moved to the center of the head where the core of the grounding cord is, and gravity. So much of this is about visualization, but the gravity. You don't have to do anything, but you direct it. You give the commands. It's your space. You have seniority over all archonic energies in your consciousness and in your body. And so, as you notice one, as this has been taught to me, it's like, hello, foreign energy in my head. Welcome to my grounding cord. And just like you can picture like Ghostbusters, the guy grabbing the pole and going just like that. They don't have the choice. They've been outed. Those energies have been identified. And you are going, welcome to my grounding cord. Foreign energy, meet my grounding cord. Bye-bye now. Pictures, dirt. Hey, your head, clean it up. Broom, nice. Maybe you like a leather chair. Maybe your room is a tropical place, the tropics. And it's also important that you visualize that room being in your own making in 360. 360. So the back of the head is the analyzer. We want to clean back any dirt that's back there, the analyzer. Some could even say the reptilian brain. And so we take a rose, sticky rose, like fly paper, big head. Clean out that analyzer. Throw it out 10 feet, expose the device underneath it, back to where it came from. Again, another rose, large, fairly sizable head. Like literally the car wash, right? You now see what's happening with the car wash, with the car going in and it cleaning every little... Well, this is even more high-tech than that. Spiritually high-tech, that is. Taking the rose and then it just cleaning every nook and cranny. You don't need to see those pictures. You tell the rose what to do. It's like, Fantasia. It's picking up all kinds of stuff that maybe has been there for years. Device underneath it. Going back to grounding the whole body in just a general sense. Bringing in the electric blue aura within 2 feet, in front, behind, on top, and below. Electric blue light. Root chakra. Grounding the aura. Blowing a rose. And then clearing out the first layer of the aura, which is also lined in with the first chakra. You can go one by one or use the same powerful rose. Going to our second level. And instead of talking about what these chakras represent, you can find that out somewhere else. But this is going chakra by chakra as we go. First chakra, first layer of aura. Rose, clean. Clearing out the separation between the auras and chakras. Clean out that dirt. Clean out that stuck pictures, emotions. Maybe something's trying to manipulate you through your chakras and emotions. Clean that out. Put the device underneath it. Hit the button. back into the ether, gone forever. Second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. Seventh is the crown. And when you're centering just on the crown, you can bring it into a gold color. And after doing some grounding, you want to bring in your old energy to fill in those gaps, fill the void. And so again, gold sun above your head, magnet in the gold sun, magnet in the gold sun, pulling back all your energy from all these different places, even maybe energy that's been vampired from you. You bring it back, poke a hole, and then you visualize that just that golden sun, solar plasma, your own energy, filling in all those places where you've grounded out so much pain. Going back to your breath. Gold sun coming in, going all the way down your grounding, and not just poking a hole underneath the ground sun, underneath the golden sun, which represents your own energy, but actually bringing in that large sun into your body as a whole. A gold sun that is, in fact, larger than your auric field. And then pulling that down even further to the center of the earth. Blowing a rose, a fairly large rose, covering aspects of your torso, and again clearing out other energy that is now moving, that is now ready to come out. As you ground more, stuck energy that's never moved before will start to move. It may also feel very painful, and you may want to stop. You may feel sharp pains in your back, and that's actually the pain moving, and you should stick with it and progress, not let the sensation of pain or greater awareness stop you from taking it to the next level. You may also notice there's archonic interference or energetic blowback during certain periods where you make progress in grounding out archonic energy. Some of these archons actually think that they own us. They think that that our energy is really their fuel source, and that they have a right to do what they're doing. But we have seniority over them. And when we use these tools, they may become upset and start shouting at us within our mind and trying to create sabotage. We need to keep moving forward with the grounding process. And by doing this on a regular basis, it can help ground out some of the archonic interference, the blowback that can come. So that's why also going into nature sometimes when you're doing some very deep spiritual work, it may be necessary for you to step away from other people and to, focus on grounding in a natural environment. But ultimately, you want to apply these skills in urban environments. And you can be at a city park. There can be drug activity going on. Say you can be in Portland, and you can be at a park, and you can choose to connect with nature and be more powerful than these archonic influences that are around you. Part of the grounding process, by the way, does include grounding the neighborhood around you. And so your grounding can actually have an effect, a very powerful effect. We can't affect our reality. Our consciousness can't affect this matrix. So we're capable of clearing, and I believe collectively, human beings may even be able to, I'm going to stretch my legs here as I talk, bring down the archonic machine, if you will. The movie Dark City has a depiction of a machine, and the man is literally dismantling it with his consciousness. So how advanced does this get? How powerful can consciousness get? What we've learned is consciousness is very capable, very powerful, and ultimately that's why they're attacking human consciousness. They're trying to reroute the destiny. That's why the ultimate war is on consciousness. That's why the real alien invasion is the mind parasite program that we've got going on. If everybody on the earth were to ground themselves and bring in their own energy and include themselves from archonic influence and stuck energy, then the world would be a different place. But the purpose of this conversation is to let those that are watching, whether you feel that you're dealing with archonic interference or not, or you want to deal with just living a life where there's less stress, where you're healthier, where you're happier. These techniques are very much a part of that. So going back to our gold sun, bringing in another, and actually practicing this multiple times, different size suns of different shapes, different colors, featuring things like happiness, amusement, knowledge, wisdom, coming in through those colors. And again, that's your own knowledge and energy that you already have inside of you. This is very different than what a lot of people have been doing the last few decades. So they've been bringing in different colors that represent different intelligences and different extraterrestrial energies. And as a result, a lot of people have ended up with some very polluted auric fields, and a lot of them have ended up etherically under the control of a lot of these entities. I do speculate that being on Earth does come with being plagued by some of these spiritual assaults. But I have also seen in particular through the person that taught me these techniques, I have also seen people overcome. And it's very impressive to see certain human beings on the planet teach other human beings these techniques to protect themselves. And to also know that with great wisdom comes great responsibility. And once you go on the path of unlocking people from the Matrix, as you can visualize Neo with that thing behind his head and that cord being pulled back, that which controls that cord to that human being that we are helping unlock, it may become enraged at that which we have done. And so we can get blasted, taking us to the next point. And so the next thing that I'm going to share with regards to psychic protection, when we're blasted, when we have just like maybe this energy that's being focused in our direction to drive us mad and take us off the path. And this is the last thing that I'm going to share. We've grounded, and we've grounded out our head, and we've scanned our body, and we're continuing the process. We bring in these gold suns periodically, and we fill in the void. We blow roses. To deal with those pictures, we throw out the roses. We put a detonation underneath those roses. We hit the button, and we do this over and over and over, just like punching or martial arts or working out or exercise, where you're doing the same thing over and over. Now we visualize a gigantic rose, and we put that on the edge of our aura, and this is called a separation rose. And what the separation rose does is it captures, it absorbs, and it runs around our aura in 360. Any of those energetic missile attacks that are coming our way, it automatically does what it's supposed to do, because it is ours. We create it. We have the power of creation. We have dominion over our own auras and bodies, and we are applying our intention and power towards creating this very protective defense mechanism. And we place that separation rose on the edge of our aura with a very thick stem that we ground at the center of the earth. It's not always easy to do this, but it's very important that you learn how to do this. And so with that separation rose grounded at the center of the earth, and we're talking about a very large flowering head that can automatically capture and absorb those incoming energy interferences, attacks and assaults. And perhaps, you may be a really sensitive person like me, and you're picking up on stuff around the environment. Maybe it's unnatural energy, cell phone towers, smart meters, and that separation rose captures it and grounds it to the center of the earth. And every time that we meditate, we want to create a new separation rose. Not something I normally do, but I am making sure that I include this at the conclusion of this basic introduction psychic protection meditation class. We take that old separation rose as we enter our session, we throw it out, we put the detonation spiritual device underneath it, we hit the button, it returns to a pure state, back into the ether. We create another one, unique color, maybe a rainbow color, large head, something that automatically lives in our auric field and protects us, just as our Earth's magnetic field protects our planet from asteroids, extreme forms of radiation, things of that nature. You actually can learn a lot about just learning about the solar cycles themselves too, and the Earth's magnetic field and how that works. As above, so below. As below, so above. We could see how the human body and the human magnetic field very much is having a parallel experience to that of the Earth. With that, this now completes this introduction talk to basic meditation. Practice it on a regular basis. It's recommended that you do this 30 minutes a day. It's also recommended that you try to meditate in the mornings and in the evenings. And I will come back in a future video and we will continue to discuss this technique and other very important things. I'm Alex Ansary, coming to you from rural northern New Mexico, March 4th, 2016. We'll see you next time.